This paper is entitled Portals in Impossible VR Spaces, a Taxonomy and Effects on Spatial Memory. The concept of portals has been present in fiction for a long time. Think of the wardrobe in the Chronicles of Narnia, the doors in Monsters, Inc., or the transporter platforms in Star Trek. These stories use portals as gateways between worlds, and in VR, we use them for similar purposes. From the literature, we can see that portal designs are currently very ad hoc. Developers often choose a portal's look and feel based on a specific aesthetic, leaving us without clear and generalized principles for intentional design and placement to support specific user goals. This diversity is fascinating, but it makes it difficult to predict how a portal will actually affect a user's spatial memory or sense of presence. To move beyond this ad hoc approach, we conducted a systematic analysis of these various implementations. By deconstructing the properties of portals found in literature and fiction, we were able to extract recurring concepts and variables. Our taxonomy deconstructs portals into three primary dimensions: world-related, portal-related, and user-related. All these specific properties are fully detailed in our paper. We're going to focus on the three specific categories we chose to manipulate for our study to see how they directly influence the user's cognitive map. The first dimension is world-related, which describes the portal's conceptual relationship with the environment's logic and narrative. World integration defines how consistent a portal is with the virtual world's architecture. A fully integrated portal exists as a natural part of the environment, such as a standard architectural doorway. A non-integrated portal, however, appears superimposed or detached from the surrounding geometry, like a shimmering rift floating in a room. The second dimension is portal-related, which details the intrinsic functionality, appearance, and spatial logic of the portal itself. In the visualization category, we define the portal's perceptual affordances. Nature definition describes how clearly the visuals signal an unusual transition. An obvious portal stands out with visual cues like a glowy border, while a subtle or hidden portal blends into the environment, often requiring discovery. In destination visibility, portals can be opaque or occluded, providing no information and creating suspense. Indicative, providing a small hint or symbol, or they can feature a destination view, acting as a clear, real-time window into the connected space. To validate our taxonomy, we derived 8 distinct portal conditions by systematically manipulating 3 key variables: world integration, destination visibility, and nature definition. First, for world integration, we have integrated portals, which are designed to look and function like real-world doors that fit the virtual apartment's architecture. On the other side, we have non-integrated portals, which lean into a sci-fi aesthetic, appearing as a blue, swirling rift that stands out as detached from the room's geometry. Regarding destination visibility, we have occluded portals, which provide no visual information about the next room, using an opaque door or swirl texture to create a sense of mystery. These contrast with the destination preview portals, which act as a clear, real-time window into the linked room, allowing users to see exactly where they are going before they cross the threshold. Finally, we manipulated the nature definition. Obvious portals use a shimmering, magic shader to explicitly signal their unusual function. Conversely, subtle and hidden portals are designed to be discovered. We designed a user study to evaluate how these various portal properties influence spatial memory, user acceptance, and the sense of presence. For this evaluation, we built a virtual apartment consisting of 8 distinct rooms. To help participants anchor their spatial memory and distinguish between spaces, every room featured a very specific color and theme. For instance, the green room was filled with plants, the red room was dedicated to a music theme with various instruments, and the black room focused on cinema. The experimental session was divided into 2 main parts. It began with an exploration phase, where users were given 20 minutes to navigate through the virtual apartment. Their primary task was to memorize the layout of the environment, including how the rooms were arranged and which types of portals connected them. Immediately following the exploration, we asked the participants to reconstruct the layout to objectively measure their spatial memory. Users were moved to a neutral virtual environment featuring a bird's-eye view over miniature 3D models of the rooms and portals they had just encountered. Using their controllers, they could grab, rotate, and place these miniatures to rebuild the apartment as accurately as possible. This task allowed us to analyze how well they recalled room-to-room connections and whether they could correctly identify which portal variation, such as an occluded door or a preview window, linked each specific space. The results from our reconstruction task showed that world integration acts as a cognitive anchor. Participants demonstrated significantly better recall for connections made via integrated portals, the ones designed like real-world doors, consistently differentiating them from the non-integrated blue rifts. When we looked at the non-integrated portals, we saw a systematic decrease in accuracy. While users remembered which rooms were connected, their precise placement was a bit more scattered. It seems that while portals allow us to cheat physical space, our brains still prefer the logic of a door on a wall to keep things straight. When we turn to user experience, participants significantly preferred portals with a destination view, specifically variations C, D, and G, rating them as far more comfortable for transitions than any of the occluded options. Occluded portals, like a solid closed door, force a distracting leap of faith. This disrupts spatial continuity and increases cognitive load because the user has to rebuild their orientation the moment they arrive in a new room. In terms of overall preference, the integrated subtle portal with a destination view, condition C, was the clear favorite, ranked first by nearly half of our participants. It provided the highest sense of presence and was perceived as the most realistic. The simple, integrated, subtle, occluded door was the least favorite, often being perceived as a frustrating barrier rather than a gateway. Through our study, we have demonstrated that world integration serves as a powerful cognitive anchor. By using real-world metaphors like standard doors, designers can significantly improve a user's ability to recall the environment's layout while promoting a much greater sense of realism and presence. We also found that the destination preview is a critical factor for ensuring user comfort and a continuous sense of presence. It allows users to maintain their orientation by establishing a direct visual link between spaces, effectively removing the blind transitions that often cause discomfort. On realism versus magic, we found a clear trade-off between familiarity and wonder. While the integrated portals, those familiar doors, were perceived as more realistic and contribute to the sense of presence, the non-integrated blue rifts were consistently perceived as significantly more magical. This likely stems from their physics-defying placement and the complete 100% spatial overlap they allowed. On subtle versus obvious designs, the effectiveness of a portal's nature depends heavily on its integration. We found that subtle designs work best for integrated portals, as they maintain the architectural illusion. However, non-integrated portals actually benefit from being visually obvious, because these rifts lack a logical architectural anchor. Making them visually salient helps guide the user and mitigates the confusing effect of a hidden portal suddenly popping into view. Based on these results, we propose 3 essential design guidelines. First, prioritize world integration for any application that requires accurate layout recall, such as training or wayfinding. Second, use destination views to support spatial continuity and avoid creating perceived barriers that frustrate navigation. Third, contextualize portal nature by ensuring that if a portal must be non-integrated, it has high visual saliency to compensate for its lack of logical placement in the world. Ultimately, these insights allow us to maximize the use of small physical spaces through self-overlapping architectures without sacrificing the user's spatial understanding. Thank you for your attention. Feel free to read the full paper for all the details regarding our taxonomy and the complete user study. If you have any specific questions or are interested in potential collaborations, please feel free to contact the authors. Thank you.